Hello, my name is Ivan, you're on the DP Labs channel, and today's video will be a kind of review of the Picasso company's 3D printer, the Designer XL Pro Series 2 model. This is the top printer in the Picasso lineup and one of the most high-end in its class in Russia. At least that's the general opinion. So why did we even need such a 3D printer? Well, the range of tasks is very broad. One of the tasks was printing enclosure parts, body kit components for our electric transport prototypes. We consulted with several knowledgeable people, and after discussing our needs, they said that this particular printer would suit us best for our purposes. Its current price at this moment is 700,000 rubles, which is considered to be quite a significant amount of money. So, what was our first impression when we bought and unpacked it? The first impression is that it doesn't look like it's worth 700,000 rubles. It's made of metal plastic, everything is held together with screws. Yeah, here on the very top, absolutely nothing is covered at all. There are just open holes and noticeable gaps in the body, and these plastic doors are mounted on 3D printed hinges. Everything here is loose and wobbly, just like this, and everything kind of moves around a lot, you know, and the handles themselves are also 3D printed. I mean, for 700,000 rubles, you could buy, for example, a Lada Granta car right now. A brand new one from the showroom, well, in the most basic configuration. As for 3D printers, for that amount of money you could buy, for example, 47 Ender 3 printers or 15 good Chinese 3D printers. Yes, they won't have such a large print area, they won't have a heated chamber, dual nozzles, and so on. But these would be good printers that print well. Here, it's about 15 times more expensive. Then, well, you can generally see it, right? Again, there's this rather flimsy and insubstantial little door on 3D printed hinges. The LED strip here is just stuck on and is already actually coming off, hanging loose. It just doesn't really look like it's worth spending that kind of money. This clamp for the filament, right now the tube is just dangling, but when it first arrived, you had to pull it through with pliers. Although, well, it's just a 3D printed bracket like this, and it got loose. Why couldn't they at least make a bracket that wasn't 3D printed is beyond me. Next, the main thing, the software, that is to say, the slicer. The manufacturer, Picasso, strongly recommends using their own slicer software called Polygon X. In theory, you can use another slicer if you really want to, but first you have to find and carefully create the appropriate start and end code somewhere, and second, even the manufacturer strongly advises against doing this, saying that some printer functions might not work as expected, you could run into problems, and so on and so forth. Basically, you could say that when you buy the printer, it actually comes bundled together with its own dedicated slicer software, and you can only work within that specific slicer. As for their slicer, which is called Polygon X, from what I've heard and gathered, it's not really their own original slicer. It's mostly copied or derived from another one, not Cura, but still it's not unique. The functionality at first glance is very confusing and difficult to understand. It's not intuitive at all, you could definitely say that. For example, if you want to move a part or rotate it, here you have some degrees along the axis, which can be a bit tricky to figure out at first. Which axis do I need? What degrees? Until you spend about 10 hours working in it, it just won't feel intuitive. If you go into Cura, for example, you just click and everything is shown to you. Where you're rotating, everything is visible. It's all intuitive. And the same goes similarly for setting up a job. Where, what, how to save a file, you just don't understand any of that at first. It's completely different. In terms of speed, when we have some settings preparing for printing, we wait, and wait some more. There we go. And let's go. Well, at long last, it's finally done. We waited patiently for this important moment. Now, when it comes to layers, it lags terribly. There's no dynamic layer preview at all. See, when I move it, it actually takes about 2 full seconds to process and think, and only then does it finally show the specific layer where I stopped. This delay makes it difficult to work smoothly. It doesn't show me anything by layers in real time. It just honestly lags terribly. Even though this is a simple basic part, it's just the seat base that we printed for the ATV. Let's open Cura, right? There are also some parameters. Slicing is twice as fast. Preview? Okay, let's take a look. Now we can see everything by layers. That's it, here you go. In real time. I can see everything by layers. So it works much more smoothly and noticeably faster in daily use. Whereas here, everything really lags quite badly. Are there actually any advantages of this Polygon X compared to Cura? Advantages? I don't know. There are some features, for example, the fact that material settings are done on the printer itself. And for each type of plastic, it saves the settings in a profile. Well, in principle, yeah, that's not bad. Other than that, personally, I like Cura much more as a slicer. The fact that the manufacturer forces you to use their slicer, which is worse in almost every way, I don't know. It's very specific. Well, you might say, so far there's nothing special, so what's actually wrong with it for this price? Well, the thing is, it doesn't work even now. As you can see, it's turned on, but the screen doesn't work. If you tap it or press somewhere, sometimes it turns on. But not always. And that's far from the only malfunction. We've had this printer for about half a year. Well, actually more like 5 months. Out of those 5 months, it worked for about 2 months. The other 3, it was broken. And it wasn't just 2 separate periods, these periods kept alternating like this. So what was the first malfunction, let's say? The first thing was that we needed to replace the hot end. It comes with a factory installed high temperature one, but we needed a low temperature one for PLA. So, it's not really a problem. They come included in the kit. If you need a low temperature one, you just swap out the high temperature one, and so on. It's very easy to replace. You just remove the cover. There's a set screw on the side for a hex key. You loosen it, take it out, insert the new hot end, and that's it. The whole procedure usually takes about 2 minutes. I decided to swap it out. I removed the cover, unscrewed the set screw, but the extruder wouldn't come out. I didn't get it, so I checked the manual. Yep, everything's right, loosened it, just one set screw. But it still wouldn't come out. I thought maybe some plastic got stuck somewhere. I turned on the head heating and waited about 10 minutes for everything to warm up. Still wouldn't come out. I tried gently wiggling it with pliers, then with a screwdriver. Nothing at all. It was just stuck solid. I didn't get it, thought maybe I was doing something wrong. So I wrote to support, asking what I was doing incorrect. They said, actually, well, everything seems right, but due to natural wear of the hot end tube, it can get firmly stuck in there. Try using pliers and a screwdriver, and if that doesn't work, disassemble the print head and knock the hot end out of the heatsink. I thought, this is really strange, but it just wouldn't budge. What else could I do? So I started taking apart the head, which is really complicated because of this revolver style nozzle changing system. The tiny bearings are about the size of a match head. Everything falls apart, springs pop out, but I keep on disassembling. So the hot end is sitting in the heat sink. I tried to knock it out with a hammer. It does come out, but it's really tough, as if it's been press fitted with a lot of force, even though it should just come out by hand. What's going on? I look, and right here, where the set screw holds it, the tube is just flared out by the set screw. So, at the factory, when they assembled it, they tightened that set screw so much that they actually partially crushed the hot-end tube, flaring it together. And there was no way to get it out, except by just hammering the hot end out of the heatsink. Well, I wrote about this to support, and they didn't say anything to me. Fine. Then at one point, I turn on the printer. The screen doesn't turn on. I didn't get it. I reboot it several times, still doesn't turn on. I walk around, check all the ribbon cables, tap here and there, touch and look at everything. I turn it on, and suddenly it works. Alright, fine. I start printing, it prints, everything seems fine. Then, well, I left for a couple of hours. I come back and it's showing an error. And as you can see, half of the print head is basically just a big solid ball of melted plastic material. So basically, it just completely sealed the print head in plastic. I was shocked by this, looked it up online, and it turns out I'm not the only one with this problem. This happens with these printers for no apparent reason. Somewhere in the hot end, the plastic just starts leaking. What should I do? Well, I thought I'd turn it off, fine. Then I turn it on, thinking maybe I could heat it up and try to chip off the plastic. I turn it on, and it doesn't turn on. I keep trying, checking everything, turning it on 10 times, but it just won't start. Well, fine, it's a warranty repair then. The company is about 80 kilometers away from us, and they don't have any field technicians. I have to deliver the printer myself. They can't accept it any other way, only through a shipping company. Alright, we call the shipping company, send the printer off with them. The repair process took almost exactly a month to complete, during which for about 2 weeks it was simply just waiting in line for diagnostics to be performed. They replaced the print head under warranty and it started functioning properly again. After that, it was carefully sent back here. I turn it on, everything works, I set it up. Leveled the platform, loaded the filament. Turned it off, didn't even print anything, and when I tried to turn it on again, it won't start. Just so you understand, before recording this video, the screen was working again. Someone touched it, pressed something somewhere, and it turned on. Now it's not working again, just like before. What's actually going on here, can anyone explain? I wrote to support about this issue, describing the problem in detail, and they responded to me saying, "We sent you an HDMI board, try replacing it yourself again." But what does the HDMI board have to do with this particular problem? It's attached separately to the sensor and also to the display itself, while the display here is actually multi-layered, with multiple ribbon cables and everything else, and it's glued very securely into this case. So, if you press specifically in the area of the display, it lights up, which is quite strange and unexpected. So the problem is in the display itself. It's glued into the case, so you can't really do anything with it physically unless you replace the entire panel together with the display. For some reason, support doesn't want to do that. So, as I understand it, they took it in for warranty repair, just tapped on it a bit, went, "Oh, it works," and sent it back. It arrived here, worked for a bit, then stopped turning on again. I described the problem that the display doesn't work. They could have just replaced the display. No. Also regarding the issue where the print head actually got completely covered in plastic, I talked to a person who used to work at Picaso. And he said he worked there a long time ago, about 5 years back. And he said that even back then, everyone knew about this problem, that it was simply a design flaw in the hot end itself. the plastic starts to leak out from under the insulation sleeve itself. So what is a hot end exactly? It's made of aluminum. A little cube that houses the heating element and the thermocouple. On one side, a threaded hot end tube is screwed in, which can be either a solid high temperature type or a low temperature one with Teflon inside. And on the other side, a nozzle is screwed into the same thread. This tube and the nozzle fit into each other and seal together. There's also a set screw for the hot end tube located right here in this specific spot. And there was a designated spot for a set screw on our extruder, positioned directly under the nozzle, but in our case, there was no set screw installed there at all. So what happens is that when the printer is running constantly for extended periods of time, apparently due to pressure, vibration, or perhaps some other unknown factor, this tube and the nozzle start to gradually loosen and wobble a bit on the thread, and as a result, plastic just starts to leak between them from under the extruder. It seeps out from under the insulation from every possible gap, gets into the print head, and instead of a functioning print head, you end up with a big, unsightly blob of plastic. 5 years ago, the company Picasso was well aware of this issue. I think they still are, that this is purely their own design flaw, but they do absolutely nothing about it. Maybe they consider it such a rare case that it only happens when your warranty expires, and then you have to buy a new print head, which probably costs 30 or 50,000 rubles or something like that. Very convenient for them. So in summary, the printer costs 700,000 rubles, and it spends more time broken and out of order than actually working. Everything breaks on it. You can't remove the hot end, the head gets fused with print plastic, the display doesn't work, even under warranty. During warranty repairs, they don't exactly refuse to help, but they just play dumb, you could say. For example, you tell them the display doesn't work and they say, check the ribbon cable, are you sure it's plugged in? Of course, I've already checked everything, reconnected everything, nothing, definitely not a mechanical issue anymore. Then they say, we'll send you a ribbon cable. But why would they send a ribbon cable for this particular issue? There's really nothing wrong with the ribbon cable itself. They also say, we'll send you an HDMI board if everything is fine with it. But your screen, damn it, the display itself is actually 3-layered, it's been flooded with liquid, and there's clearly something wrong with it. These kinds of problems are especially typical for displays like this, especially when they're installed incorrectly or over-tightened. Something might short to the chassis, or on the contrary, lose contact altogether. This is quite a typical problem, one that is often caused by incorrect installation procedures. But no, for now, they don't want to send this particular panel with the display, at least not yet. Again, it has to be sent in for warranty repair, but during the previous delivery, specifically by Picasso, the transport company, they packed it so carefully and thoroughly that they broke the hinge here, and over there the metal plastic was slightly bent. The printer is missing a couple of feet. So much for careful delivery from warranty repair, again for 700,000 rubles. In my opinion, in this price segment, this is probably one of the worst printers you can buy. Well, that's all for now. Bye everyone, subscribe to the channel and leave a like.